What is up, heroes? This is Midnight Zero, and welcome back to Let's Play 999 Blind. In the last episode, we got the knife ending. Lotus died, and we did not have the opportunity to learn who our killer was, and man, this music is loud. For those of you wondering, I ended the game at the flowchart, as you guys saw at the end of the last episode, and naturally I was taken to the very beginning of the game, which is why we are here right now. However, I do not intend to go through this room again. As far as what route we're going to be taking next, I think it actually doesn't matter which room we go through. I wonder if it'll actually even let us skip to about here. Can we even skip to the large hospital room? Interesting. I wonder which route it took us through. So it took us through, I think this is room 3. Or no, it's room 4 or 5 first, right? And I think that's the route we took initially. So I think that's door number 5. Okay. And now the music has gone away. Yeah, I want to talk real quick about that knife ending. I'm still not sure who it was. One thing I did consider is that if somebody had the 0 bracelet, obviously, you know, they want their numbers to add up to 9. So Ace would want to take out Lotus and get that 8 bracelet. If there were 3, given that Clover is missing, something I considered was, oh, what if that means instead of Clover's the one that is doing the killing, Clover has actually been murdered herself? And in that case, the killer has both the 8 and the 4 bracelets, which, you know, add up to the number 12, which would mean that the person who would want those 2 bracelets would have to be June, because then their 3 bracelets together would add up to 18, which would give a digital root of 9. I think that's highly unlikely, but there's something else that crossed my mind after the episode. And so, with that out of the way, the next thing we want to do is maybe go to this branching point. We have the 3, 7, and 8 doors. I've been told by the experts that for the ending I am going for next, not that I know what the ending is, but I know that there are different routes. Don't worry, guys. I'm not spoiling myself. And you don't need to worry about that. But it doesn't actually matter which of these doors we go through, apparently. So long as we go through the right next door. So, in the interest of doing something a bit new, let's skip, first of all, until we get to the decision point. And then, oh, and look at that! The novel and adventure screen didn't flip this time. So in the sake of doing something new, this particular episode, rather than just running through to, you know, the same old, we should probably go through door 3. I want to go through door number 3. Also, I don't know if you guys can just tell in how I'm talking about the game, how I've been acting lately, but I'm more into this game right now than I probably have been for the past, you know, like 10, 15 episodes, because just with everything, with all these different endings, with putting together different pieces of the puzzle, with the stakes, you know, climbing as people are now dying, as we get so close to exiting off the ship, the tensions are rising that much higher. I feel more kind of engrossed by the world and trying to figure it out. And I feel like we're on the cusp of it, but still far enough away that it's mysterious and is driving me a little bit crazy. And I also think another thing is, so much of the beginning of my experience with this game was learning about stuff like the morphogenetic field and like this magic and this like never melting ice. Shout out to Pokemon. But now I feel like I'm actually doing detective work. So rather than just figuring out the physics of the world or being told the physics of the world and how they differ from what I would, you know, naturally intuit, I'm actually working with the tools I've been given and just trying to get more pieces to work within that framework to eventually put together the big picture. So I think that's more so what I enjoy in these types of games, and that's what I'm getting a lot to do of recent. Also helps that the puzzles we've been doing lately have been pretty cool. But anyways, no, you can't. Huh? Why? Because it's impossible. If we split ourselves into 3 and 3, then we give up on going through door 3. Why? I mean, it's probably just math. The bracelet numbers for the 6 of us are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
3人で3の扉に入るためには3、4、5か6、7、8で組むしかない。
There are 2 combinations that can go through door 3 with 3 people. 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7, 8. That is it.
だが2つのチームが同時に1箇所に入ることはできないから。
Of course, 2 teams can't go through the same door.
なるほど。どっちかのチームは取り残されることに。
I see. That means one team would get left behind.
そういうことだ。
That's right.
7や8の扉なら、そういうことにはならないのか。
That doesn't happen if we go through door 7 or 8?
ああ、大丈夫だ。
No, they're fine.
取り得る手段は3つある。
We've got 3 options. Santa began to explain.
プラン A。
Huh. I feel like there's another route I should be able to take here, right? Just looking at the flow. There should be another route available. And we've already taken the other 2 by going through doors 7 and 8. So I feel like this is, you know, the route we take if we choose to go through door number 3. But I don't see how it's going to end up actually different at this point. Very interesting. Option
3、
A.
5、8で7に入る。
Have 3, 5, and 8 go through door
4、6、
7.
7で8に入る方法。
And 4, 6, 7 go through door
プ
8.
ラン B。
Option B.
4、5、7で7に入り。
4, 5, and 7 go through
3、
7.
6、8で8に入る方法。
And 3, 6, and 8 go through 8.
プラン C。
Option C.
3、6、7で7に入り。
3, 6, and 7 go through 7.
4、5、8で8に入る方法。
And 4, 5, and 8 go through 8.
以上の3通りだ。これ以外の選択肢はない。
Those are the only 3 options. That is it.
俺たち6人が揃ってこの先へと進むにはな。
At least if we want to get all 6 of us out of here. Wait. That was when Junpei realized. Plan A divides into 2 teams. 3, 5, 8, and 4, 6, 7. Plan B divides into 2 teams. 4, 5, 7, and 3, 6, 8. Plan C divides into 2 teams. 3, 6, 7, and 4, 5, 8. But that means there was one thing they all had in common.
どの組み合わせでも5と6が同じチームにならないじゃないか。
5 and 6 can never be on the same team.
つまり6人が揃ってこの先へと進むということはさっと離れ離れになるってことで。
If we want all 6 of us to go through a door, then June and I can't go into the same one. Look at that sad face on June. Aw. Or Canny, as they were saying, or Connie. Obviously, we're gonna not use that and instead go with Akane. But June and Junpei had been friends when they were kids. He trusted her more than anyone else on the ship. If he chose 7 or 8, he'd be taken away from her. Was that something he was prepared to do?
考え事は終わったか？
Have you mulled it over enough, or do you need more time?
さあ、というわけだから、もう一度考え直してくれ。
Anyway, that's the deal, so think it over. Junpei's gonna be like, I must be with Jude. How could I figure this out? He's gonna be like, what if I carried Ace on my back and used his bracelet to get through the 3 door with June and carried him all the way to the dead?
選択肢は2つだ。7か8か。
You got 2 choices, 7 or 8.
3は絶対に選べない。
You can't choose 3.
3を選べば、取り残された奴が確実に死ぬことになるからだ。
If you choose 3, you're gonna be leaving 3 people behind to die. Is that necessarily true though? We know that's actually not the case, but...
どうする？
So, what are you gonna do?
7か8か。どっちを選ぶ？
7 or 8. Time to choose. Junpei thought hard. After thinking it over, his conclusion was... Take the risk and choose door 3? What? What? Take the risk and choose door 3? As in take the risk that the other 3 people left behind might die? Does Junpei have like authority and that if he decides to choose 3 right now, it doesn't matter, they're going to end up going through those 3, right? Interesting. I'm too curious. Although, obviously, door 7 and 8, we've never made it to this branch before. Although, I think door 7 and 8 will go down those other paths. So, let's take the risk and choose door 3.
悪いなサンタ。それでも俺は3の扉を選ばせてもらうよ。
Sorry, Santa, but I still want to go through door 3.
バカな！頭おかしいんじゃないのかお前。
What? That's nuts. You've got to be crazy.
どうしてそこまでして3の扉にこだわるんだよ。
Why the heck are you so obsessed with that door?
まただ。
I'm just... Junpei paused. He swallowed the words he'd been about to say.
3の扉が気になるんだ。 どうしても。
I'm just curious about door 3. That's all.
理由になってねえだろうが。
That doesn't explain anything.
理由ならある。ちゃんと説明してやるよ。
I've got a reason.
ついてきてくれ。
I'd be happy to explain it to you if you'll just come with me. With that, he began walking toward the door. Their curiosity likely getting the better of them, the others followed. A few of them looked a little suspicious, but Junpei told himself that wouldn't matter. He kept walking and kept silent. Eventually, they arrived at the number 3 door. Junpei
気
stopped.
になるのはこのレッドなんだ。
I'm curious about the red.
セブン、悪いがちょっと認証してもらえないかな。
Seven, would you mind authenticating it for me? Or would you mind authenticating for me? What?
いい
Why?
から頼むよ。
Please, just do it. He stared at Junpei for a moment, then grunted and laid his palm heavily on the scanner. Uh-oh.
これでいいか？
Happy?
なあ、ありがとう。
Yeah, thanks.
これでレッドには7の数値が入力されたことになる。
The number 7 has been entered into the red.
次は紫だ。同じようにレッドに触れてくれ。
Great, so they're gonna be at, what, 13? Next is June. Please touch the red just like 7 did.
一体何を確かめようとしてるんですか？
Junpei-kun, what are you trying to figure out?
ああ、実はな、
Yep, I think... Junpei thought about his answer for a moment.
もしかしたら別の脱出方法が見つかるかもしれないんだ。
I think I might have found another way out. Is he gonna try and have all 6 hands on there? Even then that wouldn't work, right? What?
なんだって？
What? Is he like gonna try to trick them into a combination that will only allow Junpei to go through 3? Right? I don't know, cause what combination do they need? Let's think about it, right? So Junpei is 5, June is 6. That together is 11. Now 7 has been added to the picture, so that's 18, right? They need to reach what, 21? So then next would be Santa.
本当に？
Really? That got them excited. Just as Junpei had intended. Now they're more willing to participate.
だから紫、認
Now
証を。
please, June.
わかりました。
Okay. 7 plus 6 equals 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. With those two numbers in the red, Junpei had what he wanted. He casually placed his own hand on the scanner, and the third asterisk blinked on. 4 plus 5 equals
さ
9.
て、あと認証を行ってないのはサンタと、それから四つ葉とヤシロだな。
Alright, the only people who haven't authenticated now are Santa, Clover, and Lotus.
だから何なの？
So, what's your
わ
point?
からないのか？この状況が何を意味するのか。
You don't get it? Think about it.
四つ葉とヤシロのバングルナンバーを足すといくつになる？
What's the sum of your number and Clover's?
12。
12?
その数字根は
And what's the digital root of that?
3。
3.
サンタと同じだな。
Which is Santa's
ところ
number.
でヤシロ、今レッドに入力されている数値はいくつだと思う？
By the way, Lotus, what's the number that's currently in the red?
7たす6たす5は18。
It would be 9, right?
その通り。ではそれに3を足した時の数字根は？
Yes, and what will the digital root be if you add 3 to that?
3だわ。扉の数字と同じ。
3. The door's
そ
number.
ういうことだ。
There you go.
おいちょっと待て。お前は一体何を企んでる？
Hey, wait a minute. What the heck are you up
別
to?
に何も。
I'm not up to anything.
時が満ちるのを待ってるだけだ。
I'm not up to anything. I'm just waiting. Waiting for what?
均衡が崩れる時だよ。
I'm waiting for the balance to shift. All of a sudden, the balance of power now as Junpei rests amongst his throne.
サンタかヤシロと四つ葉のペアか、
Santa, or Lotus and Clover.
どちらかが動けばもう片方も動かざるを得なくなる。
Once one of you moves, the other won't have a choice.
その時を待ってるんだ。
So I'm waiting. Wow, so Junpei just put them in a position where they are now the ones that are potentially being left behind. So who's gonna sprint to the scanner? The only thing is though, if either Lotus or Clover puts their hand on there, then Santa has the option to add his hand to the authenticator or the red and potentially have it reset is all I can think of. So that would be a way that should Santa, Lotus, and Clover be like, hold up a second, you ain't in no power, Junpei. We're gonna reset this how we want, and then attempted to do something like that, then I think that kind of spoils his plan. Although that's assuming that if they add 5 people and the number doesn't add up to the digital root, then it'll reset. I don't actually know if that's the case, but I think it is. Junpei laid his hand almost casually on the lever. You baka, you tricked us. Then all that stuff you were going on about is crap. I don't think so. I don't think so. Didn't I tell you I'd figure out another way to get out of here? This is it. Why the heck would you do something like this? Junpei glanced at June. It's all for June. Junpei-kun. You did this just so you could go through the same door as June. We all know how thirsty Junpei is. I believe it. He's not about to escape if it's just some sausage fest. He's gotta ensure he's getting through with a girl. That's it? Santa was furious. His face was red and flecks of spit flew from his lips as he spoke. Junpei closed his eyes calmly and then opened them again. So, who's it going to be? Santa or Lotus and Clover? Darn it. Let's go, Clover. Huh? Whoa. Like forced into it. Lotus leapt forward. She grabbed Clover by the sleeve and ran for Junpei in the door. Oh, crap! Caught by surprise, Santa froze for a moment, then shot forward like a bullet from a gun. Lotus had a head start, but Santa had the advantage in size and speed. Almost immediately he passed Lotus and Clover. No, wait! Santa did not hesitate. He slammed his hand down on the red. This is insane! This isn't right! Yeah, I feel really bad for them in this particular situation, being played into this position. He glared at Junpei, his chest heaving. Although, this is one of those things where you may just want to appease the team for the sake of having a strong relationship going forward, because now Junpei has severely weakened the trust that all of the other people are going to have in him because of how this played out. Yes, well, you may be right. Junpei's voice was cold, but not without effort. But he turned to the red and pulled the lever. Santa's not going to be happy with us, and we know he might get a gun later. With the sound of metal on metal, the door opened. It would only remain so for 9 seconds. There was no time to think. Go! Junpei and his 3 reluctant companions jumped into the door's gaping mouth, one after another. Wow, so here's our door number 3 option. No sooner did they enter than an all too familiar noise sounded from their left wrists. The detonators had activated. Junpei looked back only once and saw Lotus and Clover on the other side of the closing door. No. This is around the time too when Lotus was playing kind of cutthroat herself, right? She was talking outside the casino and everything about potentially, ditching the others behind as they go through one of the doors. So this would definitely strike her harder than we would anticipate from how she ends up towards the end of the other timelines, at least from what we've seen. And yeah, I feel like tensions are just going to be much higher between everyone going forward. They stood still, stopped where they had been when Santa reached the red. The defeat and desperation on their faces tore at Junpei's heart. Then the door closed, and they were gone. You baka, Junpei, this isn't fair! Santa rounded on Junpei, lightning crackling in his eyes and his knuckles white. Yikes. Also, isn't this by where Snake died? Do you realize what you just did? You leave them out there and they can't.
うるせえガタガタ言ってんじゃねえ
Shut it! That's enough! Hadn't been Junpei that spoke, but
そ
Seven.
んなことよりも早くデッドを探せ
We gotta find the dead, or none of this is gonna matter. It's like, just, beat them up verbally or physically, but do it after you survive. The clock was ticking. The dead was their only chance at survival. Unless they could find it and deactivate their detonators, the four of them would be...
あと1分もねえぞグズグズすんな急げ
We got less than a minute left. No time for screwing around. Get moving.
覚えとけよこの野郎
Darn it. You and I are not done yet, Baka. Gotta love the censorship. They scattered and began to scour the room. The deactivation device was nowhere to be found.
どこにあんだよ
Where? Where the heck is it? Corridors stretched out in three directions, but every one was blocked off by a wall of metal. There was only one way out. One other door.
北の扉の向こうだ
Over there. It's gotta be behind the door. Seven ran for the door, a rusty iron thing. His large hands grabbed hold of the handle and pulled.
真っ暗だ
Darn, it's pitch dark inside.
もう見えねえな
Pitch dark. I don't think I've heard that before. It should be pitch black, right? I can't see a thing. Junpei stuck his head through the door and looked around the room.
あれは
No, wait. Almost immediately he spotted the blinking red light on the right
あっ
wall.
たぞデッドだ
I found it! The dead's right over here! He stepped into the room. What?
なんだ
What? He stepped on
足
guts.
の裏になんかぬるっとした感触が
The floor's slippery. He stopped and glanced down at his feet. What was...
何やってんだ
Hey, what the heck are you doing?
今なんか
There's
いい
something...
からさっさと行け
Get over there! Junpei felt Seven's heavy hand against his back and stumbled across the room. Yeah, yikes. The other three piled in behind him. They all felt immediately that something was wrong. Nothing that could be easily identified, only a sense that something terrible shared the room with them. But there was no time to say so.
急げ早くデッドへ
Quick, get to the dead! They all started running. In the dark, it was hard to tell where the wall was. All they could see was the tiny red light blinking at them over and over and over. And it's covered in blood, yikes. There it is! In quick succession, they all slammed their hands against the scanner panel. This is probably my favorite Red Dead segment, honestly. It was actually the most, it was probably the longest, and it had the most going on during it. Whether it was like character arguments or a sense of difficulty exploring, it wasn't just the timer started. They sprinted down the hall, and they threw their hands on the dead as they were, huffing and puffing. Seven leaned against the wall, gulping air. As his breathing began to return to normal, he glanced at his left wrist and grunted.
止まった止まったぜ
It stopped. It stopped. Junpei could hear him laughing in the dark, but could barely make out the larger man's face.
何度やっても慣れないなこればっかりは
I don't think I'll ever get used to doing this.
それにしても
What the... The sound of retching came from Santa's direction.
何なんだこの匂いはよ
What the heck is this
もう
smell?
我慢できねえ吐きそうだぜ
This is vile. I'm gonna puke. So desperate had they been in their race to the dead that no one had noticed the horrible smell that pervaded the room. It was a terrible, nauseating stench like burnt and rotten meat. Adrenaline had drowned it out, but now it rolled over Junpei in waves, forcing itself into his nose with every breath he took.
確かにこいつはきついな
You're right. This is... He felt his stomach clench and bile rise up in his throat.
とにかく明かりをつけてみよ
Wow, bile. All the way from his intestines. Let's get the lights on
う
first.
スイッチはあそこか
There's a switch over here. The light that spilled in from the door barely illuminated a small switch plate next to the door. Slowly, with the toll of the last few minutes apparent in his gait, Seven walked toward it. Oh man, those sound effects. He stopped as he got close and extended his finger toward the
よ
switch.
しつけるぞ
Okay guys, I'm flipping it on. There was a soft click as the lights came on. Just as the light turned on, June took in a short breath and... A scream echoes through the room. Junpei's breath stopped in his throat. His heart ceased to beat. Time froze. His mind scrambled to make sense of what he saw before him. What? Hey.
こいつは
This is... What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it.
爆死だな
Looks like an explosion. Seven's voice was low and strained,
あの9番の男と同じだ
just like the ninth man.
バングルの起爆送信機が作動して体内の小型爆弾が炸裂したんだろう
The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
ひどい全身めちゃくちゃだ
Oh god.
右腕なんて骨が飛び出て
The bone is coming out of his left arm. Where in his left arm, right? Because we know this is a prosthetic,
開
right?
放骨折を起こしてるな
It's definitely an open fracture. It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful. Yeah, that line is really important, especially knowing what we know from, Clover's one-on-one time with Junpei a while ago. His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. Ah, gotcha. So yeah, that would be more distal, which would be where if he had a prosthetic, left arm, especially one that would be used to protect himself in like combat and the like, that would not be real bone. So, who is this person? Who is this person? And the bracelet, his bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
それよりひどいのは顔だ
Can we see what the number is, though? That's the real question. The face is the worst.
ひどいありさまだ
Yeah, you can't even tell who it is. Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks.
この服は
But the clothes are... They were all familiar to Junpei.
ニルス
Is that Snake? Santo's voice wavered as he spoke, his mouth dry.
ってことだ
Oh my god. Finally, Junpei spoke.
こんなこと
Why did this happen? Yikes. June apparently not a fan. Suddenly, June was screaming, her voice broken. It was an eerie scream, full of insanity and not entirely human. Oh no, is this the timeline where June cracks? No, no! She shook her head violently and grabbed fistfuls of her own hair. Junpei could hear the sound of hair tearing.
落ち着け
Stop, calm down! He grabbed for her wrist.
おい
Hey! But as he did, June leapt up and ran toward the exit. Please, get me out of here. You have to let me out of here. She screamed at the door and her fist slammed against it with a hollow sound. Junpei could see drops of blood on her knuckles. Yikes. Why are you doing these horrible things to us? What did we do to deserve this?
紫
June. She screamed again, a desperate, mindless cry. Her fists flailed against the door. Get me out of here, please, please, just let me out.
紫
June! Junpei couldn't watch anymore. He ran to June and wrapped his arm around her, pulling the screaming girl away from the door.
落ち着け紫
Calm down! No, get off of me! Let me go! Let me go!
頼む落ち着いてくれ
Please, calm down! Yikes. She scrambled for a moment, her legs skittering across the floor, but her resistance didn't last long. As suddenly as her outburst had begun, it was over. The manic energy disappeared, and her body went limp in Junpei's arms. June collapsed toward the floor, and Junpei knelt down with her. He felt drops of something warm and wet. Was she crying? A moment later, she began to sob. Whoa. Man, all the CG this episode. Her shoulders shook, and great hot tears rolled down her face like rain.
大丈夫だ紫
We're gonna be fine. It's gonna be alright, June. もう大丈夫。なぜって私が来た。Love it.
茜
It's going to be okay. Akane. Her name was a whisper.
俺がそばについてるから
I'll be here with you. Okay? Wow, so romantic. She nodded once. Thank you. Thank you so much. Junpei-kun. Her trembling voice pulled at Junpei's heart. He stroked her hair gently. His face was so close to her. The scent of her hair was nostalgic.
落ち着いたか
Do you feel better?
はい
Yes,
けどもうちょっと
but I'd like to stay here.
もうちょっとだけこのままでいさせてください
For a little while, at least.
純平君の体とってもあったかいから
Junpei-kun's body is so warm. Wow, this moment though. What a moment. Ship, ship, ship. Several minutes passed before June's tears had dried. Seven and Santa standing in the corner awkwardly looking away as Junpei and June have a moment. Junpei stood up. He bent down, put his arms under June's, and helped her to her feet. They didn't speak. Oh, they were actually just standing and looking away awkwardly at the ground or in the corner of the room. Neither did Seven or Santa. A person was dead. They had died in that room, in a terrible way. Junpei knew there was no way he could make himself forget that. There was no way any of them could forget it. But mourning would do no good. They spread out to search the room, but each felt as if their heart was made of lead.
俺も行くか
You better get to it. Alright, so we got ourselves an escape. We're trying to escape from what room now? The shower room. Interesting, because I'm pretty sure the first time I saw this, when we did inspect the snake death scene, I saw like the L, L, and R, and I realized this was behind the, the 3 door, but I hadn't really fully considered what the puzzle would be like for this, so I'm pretty excited to see just exactly what it's going to entail. Looks like a pretty neat place. And we've been on a roll with some good puzzles lately, so I guess I'm optimistic going into it. But we're going to tackle this puzzle in the next episode. I know, relatively speaking, this episode's a little bit short, but it was pretty jam-packed with some good CG and intense moments, so hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did and are looking forward to the next. But until the next episode, this is Moon Knight Zero, and this mission is complete.